You're lying in a hut made of branches, and the entire village is singing around a fire that's been burning since before you were born. No one is alone. No one is scrolling through a screen at 2 a.m. wondering if they matter. For nearly 300,000 years, human beings lived this way, and something about it kept a modern epidemic almost entirely at bay. Today, roughly 5% of adults worldwide report chronic depression, and that number keeps climbing every decade. But among small-scale hunter-gatherer societies studied in the last century, researchers found rates of depressive illness so low, they were sometimes difficult to even measure. So what did ancient humans have that we've quietly lost? Why would a species built for hardship, hunger, and constant danger end up more emotionally stable than people living in comfort and safety? The answer isn't about ancient people being tougher. It's about what their daily life was structured around, and how far modern life has drifted from it. For most of human history, the body was almost never still. Anthropologist Melvin Konner's decades of fieldwork among the Kalahari's Jew/Hawanzi people documented adults walking or moving for several hours a day as a basic condition of survival, not exercise. This constant low-level motion triggered the same neurochemical processes, dopamine, serotonin, BDNF, that modern doctors now prescribe as treatment for depression. Clinical psychologist Stephen Alardi, after studying the Kaluli people of Papua New Guinea, found almost no clinical depression among them, and traced it partly to this built-in, unavoidable physical activity. This is why a short walk can shift your mood today. Your brain is still wired for a body that expected to move, not one that sits for 9 hours facing a screen. Ancient humans also lived inside groups small enough to actually know. Evolutionary psychologist Robin Dunbar's research suggests our ancestors' social world rarely exceeded roughly 150 people, and daily interaction usually revolved around a much smaller circle of a dozen or so who saw each other every single day. Every meal, hunt, and hardship was witnessed by someone who noticed if you were struggling. Anthropologist Christopher Boehm found that these bands were fiercely egalitarian, actively working to prevent any one person from becoming isolated, dominant, or cast out. Isolation wasn't just emotionally painful. Among early humans, it was often lethal. This is why loneliness still registers in your body as something close to physical danger, even now, in a city of millions. Grief, too, was never carried alone. Ethnographic records from societies like the Kung and the Hadza describe mourning as a communal event, days of shared wailing, ritual, and physical closeness, with the burden of loss spread across dozens of people rather than absorbed by one. Psychiatrist Randolph Nesse, a pioneer of evolutionary psychiatry, has argued that low mood itself may have evolved as a signal, a way of pulling a struggling individual back into the safety of the group, rather than pushing them further away. In ancient life, sadness summoned people closer. This is part of why isolating yourself when you're struggling today often makes things worse. Your instincts expect comfort to arrive, not silence. Sunlight structured everything too. Without artificial light, ancient humans woke near dawn and slept not long after dusk, keeping circadian rhythms tightly synced to natural light-dark cycles. Some historians, including A. Roger Ekirch, have documented pre-industrial sleep patterns split into 2 segments through the night, with a period of quiet wakefulness in between. Never the fragmented, artificially lit, blue screen-saturated sleep most people experience now. Disrupted circadian rhythm is one of the most consistently identified risk factors for depression in modern clinical research. This is why a full day indoors under fluorescent light can leave you feeling flat in a way you can't quite explain. Purpose was also immediate and visible. A hunt fed the group by nightfall. A woven basket, a repaired tool, a fire kept alive. Every effort had a clear, tangible result, witnessed and valued by others within hours. There was little room for the modern experience of working for months towards something abstract, uncertain, or invisible to everyone around you. Anthropologist Peter Gray's research on hunter-gatherer societies emphasizes how directly effort connected to outcome, reinforcing a sense of competence almost daily. This is part of why finishing something small and real, cooking a meal, fixing something broken, can lift your mood far more than it seems like it should. Then agriculture arrived, and with it, everything ancient life had quietly protected began to erode. Villages grew into cities, extended kin networks scattered, sunlight-driven rhythms gave way to artificial light, and later, to screens that never turn off. Work became abstract, delayed, and disconnected from visible reward. The tight, ever-present social web that once caught people the moment they started to fall was replaced by something thinner, more distant, and easier to slip through unnoticed. Ancient humans weren't happier because life was easier. It was harder, shorter, and far more dangerous. But it was rarely lonely, rarely still, and rarely disconnected from sunlight, purpose, or people who noticed when something was wrong. Maybe what we call depression isn't only a chemical imbalance. Sometimes it's the echo of a very old way of living that the body still remembers, and the modern world quietly took away.